right, man. We are back with another Warriors post-game reaction recap video. I was gonna do it earlier, but Seahawks played, so put it off a little bit. Unfortunately, my teams keep losing both their city and their games. Not fun right now as a sports fan if you're me. However, Warriors do lose to the Thunder 130 to 123, an overtime loss. This was probably one of the harder games for the Warriors to lose, given you finally got the production you've been asking for. You know, Clay still struggling, but Andrew Wiggins just a hell of a performance tonight. Steph Curry did return and played all right, missed some layups down the stretch, but you know, being tired, first game back for a second. You know, chalk it up to that because Steph's been incredible this season, so I'm not gonna sit here and act like something's wrong. You know, the Thunder look to be just a problem for this Warriors roster, and you know, I kind of want to get into some stuff here. I will open with pretty much the most controversial part of this entire saga of a game, which it felt like it was a saga. Steve Kerr, as the Warriors were up 3, mind you, Andrew Wiggins hitting a clutch three, his 4th of the night, to put him to 31 points. Andrew Wiggins hits what should have been the game-winning 3 in overtime, or not in overtime, in regulation, with like 1.6 seconds left or something like that. And Steve Kerr elected not to foul. Fouling up 3, you know, that's kind of a surefire way to not get hit. And Kerr chose not to foul, and Chet Holmgren spun around at the left corner and hit a 3 to tie the game and send it to overtime. You know, exact reason you foul up 3 is exactly, you know, not doing it is exactly why. Chet hits the 3, and you know, after the game, Steve Kerr apparently said in one of the quotes from his press conference or his post-game interview was that the refereeing against the Warriors has been pretty rough this season, and they were worried that if they did foul, there would be continuation on a potential shot. So, I mean, if you wanna go with that being why you don't foul, I guess, okay, like, kind of a reach in my opinion, but sure. However, I still think you should have. You know, it's one of those things, you know, you when you foul somebody, especially if they're gonna shoot, you foul them hard. Don't do the little ticky-tack stuff. Actually foul them so where they cannot shoot the ball. Foul them hard. Then, worrying about continuation on a shot, you don't have to deal with that. Even if he has to go, I'd rather Chet go shoot 3 free throws in clutch time than take an open 3. Where Andrew Wiggins was on the cover, and Andrew, you know, played some pretty good defense tonight at times, but still, you probably don't want him in that matchup because Chet's just bigger, can get over top of him, and you know, shoot a shot that for him is open. It's kind of like a KD thing, right? So you know, power coaching, I'd just say foul him, make him shoot the free throws. If he hits him, good on him. But you know, frankly, I would have rather had anybody shoot that basketball than Isaiah Joe. I don't care if it's Shai, I don't care if it's Chet, Jalen Williams, Lou Dort. Anybody could shoot the ball on that team but Isaiah Joe. That dude has been insane. Anyways, Kerr not fouling up 3. Just a, you know, this is new with Steve Kerr. He's never really been someone who fouls up 3. One of the broadcasts, it might have been NBC, maybe it was somewhere else, I don't know. I don't remember where I saw or which one said it, but it said Steve actually likes to call time or to foul up 3. In what universe? I've never seen that. Steve Kerr does not foul up 3. That's not in his game. He likes to defend, and you know, as like a test for the players kind of deal. It's like, okay, You need a stop here, so go get one. And it's like, dude, you're not. This isn't the NBA of 7 years ago, where each game you can just kind of toy around and experiment and try and instill lessons. This is a very tight conference, and every game that you should win that you drop, it's gonna come back to bite you in the ass later in the season, because seeding is gonna be pretty important this year. You know, the Warriors are not in a position where they can say it doesn't really matter 1 through 8, we're fine. You're in a spot where it's probably gonna matter getting home court. Even though, I mean, at this point, I guess you wouldn't even want home court because the Warriors have been so bad shooting up until last night. Thank you, Wiggins. But yeah. Anyways, speaking of moving into Andrew Wiggins, been a very contentious player on this channel over the last week or two. Been talking, over the podcast as well, just in these videos, how he's been underperforming everywhere so badly that it's at the point where trading him just made sense. And I still stand by, if he cannot get consistent as both getting back to being an elite on-ball defender and getting back to just shooting like 40 to 45% from the field, 35% from 3, and like 70% from the free throw line. If he can't get back to that on like 18 points a game, you gotta let him go, because you need a number 2. Steph cannot do it all. He can't. Clay can't do it. Chris Paul ain't gonna do it. None of these guys have it in them to be the true number 2. So if Wiggins can't do it, he's the odd man out. And contract or contractually speaking and everything. So last night was a huge night for Andrew Wiggins. I want to, before we kind of get into him, I do want to give credit where it's due. +6 tonight, highest on the team for the Warriors. 31 points, a season high. Unfortunately, no fucking rebounds. See, oh my god. Okay, yeah, 3 assists, a steal, a block. 12 of 19 from the field, 5 of 8 from 3, 2 of 4 from the free throw line. 4 fouls, but played some pretty solid defense at times. Andrew's best game offensively by a mile this season. Really not even close. Just, he was absolutely incredible. But I think the biggest thing with Andrew is the consistency. And I was watching as a basketball channel, B Souls and Sage, and I mean, you guys probably know it, but one of the things B Souls talked about was Andrew Wiggins seems to have a complacency problem. And I've said many times, I don't like commenting on a player's, like what they're thinking. I don't think that's fair, because we don't know. So like, everybody shows emotion differently. Everybody acts differently. It's not like, just because he doesn't go out there and look like Russell Westbrook in terms of facial expressions and emotions doesn't mean he doesn't care. You know what I'm saying? But I do think that there's validity to saying Wiggins has a complacency problem, because how many times have we seen a huge explosion for Andrew Wiggins where it's not even a real explosion? It's just a solid game. Andrew Wiggins is an extremely athletic player. He's 6'8" with a 7' plus wingspan, one of the most athletic players in the league. He get to the rim with ease. Should be able to dunk the ball whenever he so chooses, though he doesn't. There's another problem. And he could kind of shoot the ball from 3. Him shooting 5 of 8 from 3, I do not expect on a nightly basis, and I never will from him. But 1 of 3 or 2 of 5, good. That's good. I'm fine with that. I have no issue with that being his nightly thing. He should be getting like 20 points plus a night. Really. That's not pressure. That should be easy for him. He's too athletic, and he has too many skills offensively to not be able to do that. And I've seen a lot of, well, It's difficult. They're in the offense. He's trying to figure things out. He doesn't have a lot of bullshit. Bullshit. Andrew's been here since the second half of 2020. Okay? He knows his role on this team. He knows what the team structure looks like right now. He knows exactly what this team needs, as does everyone on the floor. They're not stupid. You know, they all are playing at the same time. They know what's going on. They need offense right now. They need someone who could go get a bucket. And the only thing that this is a matter of is who's going to step up. Because again, Steph cannot do it all. When Steph plays, every team is going to hunt him 100% of the time, both offensively and defensively, which means someone else needs to step up. And you can't expect it from Klay. We're going to get into Klay Thompson, but in my opinion, you just can't expect Klay to do much. He is not someone in what is this, year 12? Year 12, ACL, Achilles, already on the back half of his prime. You cannot expect Klay to come out here as someone who was never really this uber athletic player to go and get you 25, to be a second shot creator, to be a good playmaker. That's just never been Klay's game. Klay is an off-ball shooter. He's a catch-and-shoot guy, and occasionally, if need be, he can take a mid-range shot if he needs to, and he can get to a post shot if he needs to. But Klay is not someone where you want him being this like kind of Kobe-like play. That's just not Klay. That's not Klay, and you can't expect him right now to be that guy. Which means 28-year-old Andrew Wiggins, who should have already been progressing into the 25 points per game, this is his time, you know? Especially in those games where Steph was out, Andrew needs to step up. And one of the things we've talked about is when Andrew does, or when Andrew hasn't been playing well this season, what has been there? The offensive rebounding and just getting on the glass in general, trying to help in other ways. Oh, tonight, or last night, sorry, 31 points, 0 rebounds. You know what I mean? Like, it's not clicking everywhere for him. It's one or the other. You want the defense and you want the hard-nosed Andrew Wiggins, you're going to get him. You want the scorer Wiggins, you'll get him. Maybe. I mean, as far as this season goes, this is a one-off. So, it's just getting a consistent effort from Andrew Wiggins of, give me like 20 and 7. Just 20 and 7. Could you do that on just decent efficiency? I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to sit here and act like Andrew Wiggins is going to start averaging 30 a game. Every year, you know, you get one game where Wiggs goes off. He had the 45-point bomb one time. He had like 8 threes in another one, I think. He gets one game a year where he just goes nuts. And then that's it. It's back to 15. You know, I understand that in the Steph Curry offense, a lot of guys naturally get passive because you want to find Steph on relocations, but, you know, someone's got to be assertive here. And right now, the only guy who really has the ability and the skill to do so is Andrew Wiggins. Kuminga is not ready. Moody is not ready. Podziemski is not ready. Dario Saric is not that guy. You do not want Dario Saric having to be the guy to go get a bucket at all times, even though he tries his ass off to get that bucket. You know, Chris Paul, even though he's had probably his couple best offensive nights this season back to back, you still want him to be the playmaker, which he's been. He had a fantastic game. You don't want him to have to be your the biggest offensive scoring hub. You need other guys to step up. And again, it's just Andrew Wiggins has to be that dude, and he hasn't been. So as much as last night was great, and it was unfortunately spoiled by Chet Holmgren hitting a huge 3 and the Thunder ending up winning the game, I still need to see more from Wiggins. I need to see some consistency. Otherwise, what I've said about trading him and getting a guy like DeMar DeRozan, who I know has had some, you know, shooting issues, shooting woes this season, someone needs to come in here that's a true number 2. if Wiggins isn't going to step up and be that guy. So, yeah, congrats to Andrew for having a great bounce back game. I'm happy that it was fun to watch. It was, anytime someone not named Steph has a good game, you get excited. But I've been, I think all of us as Warriors fans, if you're a Timberwolves fan watching, whatever the case may be, you're aware of the Andrew Wiggins experience. And after a big game, a lot of, just mid is it typically follows. So hopefully this is the place to build off of, but I'm not going to hold my breath here. We move on from there. We will get into Klay. We briefly did in the Andrew Wiggins spiel, but Klay is he's having a really rough time. I think we've talked about on the podcast, guys try gracefully fading into the sunset. We've talked about Carmelo Anthony and, when he went to the Thunder after being with the Knicks for a while, they wanted him to come off the bench, and he clearly had an issue with that. That was not something he was really open to do. But then after a couple seasons, I think he was out for a year. Nobody picked him up, and it kind of hit him like, hey man, I'm not Carmelo Anthony of old. I have to change. I think that's something that Klay is gonna have to face soon. You're gonna have to face the music. Like, man, I am not what I used to be. That's not a bad thing. Klay not being able to go out and get 18 a night on 40% from 3 on 10 attempts a night, not being able to get that is okay. But playing 36 minutes a game, and I know that's not all on him. That's some of that's on Kerr, some of that's on his teammates, which we've talked about how they just don't really set him up for success out there. There's a lot of that, but I think there needs to be a switch in mentality for Klay about where he needs to be in his career. Because at this point, I think Klay is probably better suited as someone who starts, but you play maybe 25 minutes a night. You only shoot if you're wide open. Play most of your minutes with the bench. Maybe you close if you're having a good offensive night. But he's not in the same spot in his career anymore. And I know he had the fantastic month of January last season, but I am not putting my money on that being a thing again. I'm just not. Klay, unfortunately, has not aged gracefully. That's not his fault. So, mentality shift. Next, regarding Klay, the shot selection. We all know Klay has always been a daring shooter. Similar to Steph, those are two guys in the league where they have the ultimate confidence to take and make any shot. And, we're seeing Steph still maintain that level of success taking those shots, but Klay hasn't been able to. I think we've all seen the changes in mechanics for Klay since coming back off of the injuries. More of a set shot, kind of does the chicken wing, doesn't really have the follow through that we're used to seeing from him. And maybe that plays into this a little bit, that his shot's different. Could be, can't rule everything out, right? But I think the shot selection in general has just been something that Klay he's not really helping himself with. And that overtime, he took about 3 shots, or fourth quarter and overtime, he took about 3 shots that were just so piss poor in terms of being open. Like, you're absolutely guarded. There is no reason to shoot that ball. And he shoots the ball. And Athletic Alchemy was talking about it today. You could pretty much count him as a turnover. And that's true. It's a bad shot for no reason that just puts the Thunder in transition. And you're already not a great transition defense team, especially without Draymond. You're setting yourself up for failure. I don't know. It's just, it doesn't help anything. And again, 7 years ago, Clay might make those shots, probably, but he isn't that dude anymore. Just, physically speaking, he isn't there. So I just, there needs to be, someone's gonna have to get it through to him that there needs to be a change. And I don't want it to be one of those cases where he kind of has to hit rock bottom before those changes are made. You never want to see that. But yeah. And last but not least, I kind of want to go into the Thunder here. The Thunder have just been an absolute pain against the Warriors this season. Tonight was their worst night shooting, which is not saying much because they still shot 35% from three, which is nothing to sneeze at. Only took 23 of them and made 8, which is still, impressive given they won. They scored 130 points, only making 8 threes, but that speaks to how many guys on that team can score. We got to see Chet Holmgren's best game of the season here. 36 points, 10 boards, 5 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks. Made a couple threes, 6 of 7 from the free throw line. He was incredible, +9 on the night for the Thunder. The dude was just unbelievable. This was by far Chet's most dominant game. Again, I fully believe he's the rookie of the year over Victor Wembanyama. I know that everybody assumes Wemby's going to win it just because it's him, but I think Chet's been vastly better, as well as playing on a team that's going to be in the playoffs and potentially a high seed. I just, he kind of got held at bay the last couple of games against the Warriors, but tonight, again, another night with no Draymond. Kevon Looney and Dario Saric, it's a switch-all defense, so he gets mismatches, and he ate tonight. Thunder did not let him miss opportunities. They were getting him the ball as much as they could, and because of that, they won. For most of the game, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander got held down pretty well. I think the Warriors guarded him very well. But in that fourth quarter and in the overtime, he was insane. I mean, Shai had the 2 best quarters of the game in the fourth and overtime. That's where a dude like him shines. He gets to the rim. He's super good. He's just insane at finishing. And he's got an insane mid-range. That's just really hard to stop. He just gets rolling, and that's that. It's like a De'Aaron Fox thing. And he ended up with 40 on the night. So, I think the good thing is you only gave him 2 free throw attempts for the game, but that speaks to his mid-range because he still ended up with 40 points and only made 2 threes. So he just killed you in the mid-range, getting to the rim. You did what you could, but Shai just really took over in this game. Thankfully, Isaiah Joe was kind of held down. He only made 2 threes, but anytime that dude gets the ball in his hands, it's like it felt like 2023 Keegan Murray. I don't want to see the ball in his hand. Get anybody else shoot the ball, but this dude, he's that good against the Warriors. Like him and Lou Dort apparently before this game combined for like 17 of 21 from 3, which is ridiculous. Isaiah Joe is a great 3-point shooter. Lou Dort is not. And it's not like Isaiah Joe just carried the torch all by himself. Like, the Thunder have just had fantastic shooting against this Warriors team. And, a lot of that has to do with kind of weak closeouts and not really doing well on getting on recovering from switches and just personnel differences that, out Draymond and with Andrew Wiggins not playing well defensively. Now Gary Payton II's out for who knows how long with the foot thing. There's issues. There's defensive issues, and a lot of people want to point to Mike Brown not being there. That's fine. I don't know if that's the case. I think right now the offense is the issue and not having enough creation. But, I think there's a case to be made that Mike Brown's not being there the past 2 seasons has definitely impacted the defense. But yeah, I think the Thunder have just been a really tough matchup for the Warriors here. And I think they're going to be a tough matchup for a lot of teams because they're just really good at getting to the rim. They're just everyone on this team is athletic. They play hard defensively even if they're not the best. They get to the free throw line, shoot the three ball relatively well, and they just have guys. Jalen Williams is getting better and better each game. Lou Dort, even though he was held to 3 points tonight, we've seen the fact that he can just go off at times. He's done it multiple times this season, having 20-plus point nights. Chet Holmgren, he's been one of their most consistent players. Giddey, even though he might not have the best scoring nights, he's still a fantastic playmaker and a rebounder. Shai, always good for 30-plus. Isaiah Joe can get you like 15 if you want. If you give him enough looks. Casey Wallace, he's also super consistent. Granted, he doesn't get the most looks on the team, but still scores. They're a very deep team. And yeah, for a Warriors squad right now that's just struggling to get any offense, teams that can pummel you in just so many ways, it's like football, The defense, if the defense is on the field for too long, you're screwed. If the defense is on the field for too long, it's because your offense isn't doing well. If your offense isn't doing well and your defense is out there for a long time, that means they're going to give eventually because they're too tired. They're going to start to get run over in the third and fourth quarter. That's kind of what's been happening to the Warriors. Not scoring. They're having to resort to defense only. And you can only defend well for so long before the opponents start making shots. You have to start making shots yourself, and yeah, man, it's just been tough. Like I said, Wiggins needs to build off of this, start scoring more than 15 to 18 a game. We need him to be the number 2. He needs to get there. Play, shot selection, improving in that regard. And for the Warriors as a team, set him up for success. Stop leaving him on an island. Stop putting him in pick and rolls and then just ditching the pick and roll and having him ISO. Run actions, splits, cuts, everything. Do everything you can to make his life easier because he simply is not athletic enough anymore to handle that pressure. They stop him. They can guard him. He's not the old Klay Thompson. You have to help him out. Chris Paul, you can't ask this dude to be the offensive hub. He's really starting to put together the scoring, but you don't want to wear him out and have him come up short. Come playoff time, if the Warriors are even there, you don't want him to come up short because he's had to expel so much energy being a scorer. Steph, that's the same thing with him. You don't want to expel all his energy because he has to be the savior of the team every single night. You need someone else to come along for the ride. Dario, I think at this point, it's just stop fading away on your shots. A lot of his shots of late have missed short. He kind of has a tendency to fall back a little bit when he shoots. My criticism or advice is just don't do that. Lean forward, or just upright, whatever the case may be. But you lean back, especially if you've been playing hard minutes, which Dario plays very hard basketball. You're not helping yourself. Jemski, keep doing what you're doing. A little more careful with the ball, but keep doing what you're doing. Dude's playing 25 minutes a night right now. Rookies don't tend to play that much in the Steve Kerr system. Pajemski has shown that he's ready for it. Just, be a little more careful with the ball. Kuminga, keep being aggressive. Jonathan Kuminga is really starting to get on my good side here. I just the aggressiveness as a scorer in the paint is what I've been asking for. It's instead of just trying to, jump into someone and draw a foul, it's get into their chest, finish around the rim. If you get the foul, you get the foul. If you don't, you don't. But stop putting your entire game up for grabs by the refs. You have to be assertive, and the calls will follow. And I think Kuminga is taking that at this point, really becoming aggressive. And You know, as we said at the start of the season, the initial hope was that if Andrew Wiggins doesn't pull it together, Kuminga and Moses Moody could make up for that. But, excuse me once again, gee, I got the hiccups. But Kuminga is starting to get, is starting to excel. Moses he's hit or miss right now. He does a lot of other stuff, and I have no issue with Moses as far as everything but scoring goes. But my issue with him that I've had the entire time that he's been a Warrior is he's just not an aggressive player. It's kind of like Wiggins. I'll pass first every time. It's pass. There's never this assertiveness. It's random. When he is assertive, it looks weird. Like he kind of just has to, like his brain stops working and his body just goes into like panic mode and he does something. I don't feel comfortable with the ball in his hands. There needs to be some huevos on him moving forward. Sorry, that was cringe. But yeah, that's pretty much it. As we know, Draymond was out. He's got a couple more games to serve on the suspension. Corey Joseph didn't play. Jonas didn't play. E. Santos didn't play. Trace was out with a knee soreness. So, yeah. Anyways, that's 6 straight L's for the Warriors. Rough sledding here. They play the Rockets on Monday in Chase Center. I think this is the last game of the homestand. Am I correct? I am. Win. Like, there's nothing more than just win. I've mentioned where these guys need to improve, and you got to do that, and you got to win. It just comes a point where it's like, enough talk, man. Just go fucking do it. So hopefully that happens. But yeah, that's going to wrap things up. A little bit of a late upload, however. Still, I feel like I got my thoughts together a little better now. But yeah, if you liked the video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. The podcast will be back this week at some point, as well as post-game reactions and whatnot. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Have a good rest of your evening, and peace.